The Universal Kids Resort in Frisco, Texas. This park is just about ready to open to the public, and though it hasn't officially opened as of recording this video, the discourse on this place is already pretty wild. Some are calling it a fun-looking experience for kids, and others are calling it a complete disaster. People are comparing it to the infamous Willy's Chocolate experience or the Krabbyland episode of SpongeBob. This place has been absolutely skewered online, with many pointing out the lack of theming. But are the criticisms fair, or are people going too hard on what's essentially a children's theme park? Let's talk about the Universal Kids Resort right here on Theme Park Crazy. Back in 2023, Universal officials first announced this park, labeling it as a quote-unquote new concept. From the start, the park was specifically marketed as being intended for families with young children. Nevertheless, theme park enthusiasts were curious to see what Universal could do with such a concept. Over the past decade or so, Universal has developed a growing reputation for immersive, in-depth, and highly detailed theme park experiences. Not only have they built the highly acclaimed Hagrid's Magical Creatures motorbike adventure and Velocicoaster, but their new Epic Universe park in Orlando has received glowing reviews for its S-tier theming. Many consider Universal's Orlando parks to be on the level of, or even superior to, the parks at Disney World. So when they announced they were building a park in Texas, Lone Star theme park fans were excited to see what kind of premium experience awaited them. However, getting this park built was far from easy. As it turned out, they would have to deal with the unglamorous world of municipal politics. Officially, Frisco, Texas is classified as a suburb of Dallas. This upscale city has experienced a rapid population growth and is home to a high concentration of young families. For Universal, these factors made it the perfect location to build a family theme park in. After acquiring the 97-acre property, Universal sought to get a specific use permit, or SUP, in order to build their desired theme park. On the other hand, as soon as local residents found out about the plans, many were outraged. According to CBS News, shortly after the plans were announced, local residents, especially those of the Cobb Hill neighborhood, were quick to voice their concerns. Homeowners living near the proposed site argued that the city was moving too quickly and had failed to adequately study the park's long-term impacts. Residents expressed fears about increased traffic congestion, crime, noise, and declining property values. Several Cobb Hill homeowners said the project would dramatically alter their quality of life, with some arguing that the massive structures would become an eyesore despite the planned landscaping. One resident even feared that Universal would build a casino on the property because she saw a casino representative at a meet-and-greet session with officials. But despite this opposition, city officials, including Mayor Jeff Cheney, were largely on board. The mayor stated, quote, "The public really influenced this project, probably more than any case I've worked on in 15 years. To calm the public, the mayor also posted an FAQ detailing the project's benefits, as well as what would and wouldn't be a part of it. Among the biggest concerns was traffic, so the city emphasized that the mixed-use property was already zoned for apartments, offices, and retail space. They argued this would have generated way more weekday traffic than the proposed theme park. Officials also noted that the park's anticipated 10 a.m. opening time would avoid the morning commuter rush. Moreover, the FAQ sought to reassure residents by explaining the park would be much smaller than Universal's traditional destinations, occupying only 30 acres of the resort's full 97-acre site. For reference, Islands of Adventure is about 100 acres, so the proposed project would be less than one-third of that park's size. The park would also feature tight operating hours that would start at 10 a.m. and end by 6 p.m. on weekdays, as well as 7 p.m. on weekends. On a related note, the mayor said that the park would not include fireworks or late-night entertainment. Attracting teenagers and older thrill seekers was out of the question. The mayor explained the restrictions even further, saying there would be no large roller coasters and that any such attractions would be restricted to a 50-foot maximum. According to an official illustration, the inside of the park would have an absolute height maximum of 100 feet. There would be a 40-foot limit for buildings, an 80-foot limit for rides and amenities, and a 100-foot limit for uninhabitable structures or theming elements. Roller coasters were capped at 50, likely to keep the intensity low and avoid attracting audiences outside the intended young family demographic. Universal had promised extensive landscaping outside of the park, using trees and natural soil barriers, or berms, to help shield neighboring homes from seeing the park. One thing that the mayor said that alarmed theme park enthusiasts was that there would be, quote, no dark rides. Now, the idea of a premium Universal theme park without dark rides makes about as much sense as Raising Cane's without sauce. Some of the most memorable theme park attractions on Earth are dark rides, and plenty of potential parkgoers expressed concern at this statement. The mayor actually walked back this comment, clarifying that, quote, there will be indoor immersive rides and experiences. This references full dark thrill rides targeting teens and adults. As we'll see, the first interpretation turned out to be true, but we'll get to that later. Officials added that the park is expected to generate millions in annual tax revenue. The mayor also cited the police department's assessment that the park was not expected to cause a significant increase in crime. Now, on top of all of these factors, Universal had a total budget of $500 million to work with. That sounds like a lot, but for reference, Epic Universe cost almost $8 billion to build. Overall, Universal was tasked with using a small budget to build a limited-scale theme park exclusively for younger families. All of this while adhering to tons of restrictions to please local residents. When they called it a new concept, they weren't kidding, as the company had never done anything like this. The canvas in suburban Texas would certainly be smaller than Central Florida's. Due to local outrage, the city council's approval vote was delayed twice, but on March 7, 2023, the council approved the permit in a 4-2 vote. For the next few years, construction was underway. During that time, Universal had released concept art depicting what the end result would look like. As it was revealed, the park would be divided into 7 lands: SpongeBob SquarePants Bikini Bottom, Minions vs. Minions, Jurassic World Adventure Camp, Puss in Boots Del Mar, Shrek Swamp, TrollsFest, and the Isle of Curiosity featuring Gabby's Dollhouse. The attractions themselves look colorful and appealing in the concept art. They were also surrounded by plenty of lush greenery and colorful flowers. By all means, it looked like a gorgeous family theme park, and with the Universal brand behind it, people expected a premium experience. After construction was complete, there was the preview phase. In June of 2026, influencers and members of the media were invited to the park for a sneak peek before the official opening on July 1st. And this is where things fell apart. Right off the bat, footage from early previews revealed some glaring flaws with the park's visual design. The most widespread criticism was the lack of theming. There were large, open pathways of unpainted concrete, 2D cutouts, a severe lack of shading, and hardly any landscaping. Likely due to budget constraints, the park's trees are small saplings held up by metal wire. Sure, they will grow over the next few years, but right now, they aren't giving any useful shade or transpiring enough water vapor to cool the surrounding area. And keep in mind, this is Texas, a state known for its excessive heat. And since there are no air-conditioned dark rides, all of the rides are outdoors. Really, the only way to experience any air conditioning here is in the shops or restaurants. Now, in order to get a fair idea of what this park is like, it's important that we go through each themed land and see what they have to offer. Starting in the middle of the park, we have the Minions vs. Minions Bello Bay Club area. This area has several water features. For small children, there are a few themed splash pads. There's one with a minion surrounded by minion-painted rocks, one with a mermaid minion, and a splash pad with an abstract purple fountain and a minion standing under a raining umbrella. As for food, there's the Bello Bay Boutique and Bites quick service stand. Menu options here include banana and grape-flavored popcorn, as well as a grape or pineapple shaved ice, and the Bello Bay mac and cheese cone topped with a minion-shaped tater tot. As you'll see, the food options at this park are actually pretty good. This is because of the park's director of culinary experiences, Robert Martinez, taking a new approach. Instead of just throwing some frozen chicken nuggets and fries onto a kids menu with processed mac and cheese, they actually took the time to design food that both kids and adults would find palatable. We'll see more as we go through the park. The Minions area has 2 rides, a spinning flat ride named Bello Bay Golf Cart Derby, and the top attraction, Bello Bay Cruise. This ride has its share of pluses and negatives. On one hand, the ride does have some interesting features. On the nearby pathways, kids too small to ride can take aim with water guns to squirt passengers on board. Some of the scenery is also decorated with colorful statues of the minions, along with a detailed high dive set piece. On the ride itself, there's a rare whirlpool element, appearing to drop passengers below the waterline before splashing down at the bottom. Cool features indeed, but the big problem with this ride is once again the concrete. Critics have compared the look of this attraction to a Los Angeles storm drain. Because the troughs aren't painted, the rafts look like they're floating through an industrial water channel. Now there are some cutouts and paintings of the minions on the first half of the ride, but the second half surrounds passengers with tall, unthemed retaining walls. And what's up with this empty pool of water with nothing else inside of it? If this was indoors, it would give some serious backroom vibes. When compared to the concept art, this ride replaces much of the greenery by the high dive section with gravel. Sure, there are some saplings, but compared to the concept art, this looks like the kind of landscaping you'd see in a grocery store parking lot. Simply put, this ride feels like the park went over budget and couldn't allocate any more of it to the finishing touches. Moving on, the next themed land is Bikini Bottom. This area has the most rides out of the rest of the park, and all of which are small spinning flat rides. First, there's the Barnacle Bus, a rock and tug ride depicting the bus from the show. Then there's Bobbing Barrels, where guests board spinning barrels and fire water guns at each other with a crank-operated system. Jellyfish Field's Jamboree is a Dumbo-style attraction where guests can lift and lower their vehicles as they rotate around a center axis. At last, there's Mrs. Puff's Boating School, where guests board small boats and once again rotate around a center axis. These flat rides are pretty standard, and to be fair, the designs of the rides themselves are pretty detailed and well done. But once again, the problem is the unpainted concrete they sit on. Had they painted the concrete teal, it would have made these rides look so much better. But as they stand, they look more like temporary attractions in a church parking lot. Really, the best thing about the SpongeBob themed area is the retail. This area features 2 recreated stores from the show, the Bargain Mart and Goofy Goobers. Inside the Bargain Mart is a gift shop stacked with SpongeBob merchandise and decorated with wallpaper accurately based on the show. At Goofy Goobers, the inside is bright, vibrant, and eye-poppingly pink. The star selection here is the triple Gooberberry Surprise from the SpongeBob movie. This has vanilla and chocolate ice cream, along with strawberry Dole Whip, chocolate fudge, crushed s'mores cookie crumbles, strawberry Pop-Tart pieces, banana, whipped topping, and a cherry on top. Not only that, but it's actually served in a souvenir sundae holder that directly resembles the dish from the actual show. Kids, and especially Instagrammers, will especially love it. Along with the ice cream, kids can cool off in a splash pad with SpongeBob's house. Overall, what this lane needs is a good coat of paint on the pathways. Throw in some coral and kelp structures, and this land would look miles better. Next is the Jurassic World Adventure Camp. The first thing you see when you enter is a large play structure called the Lookout Towers. This structure features climbing nets and gives kids a chance to burn off energy. However, when paired with the sparse landscaping and surrounding concrete, some have said it looks more like a maximum security prison than something fun. As for the rides, you have 2 small rotating drop towers called Tyrannodrop, a flying wheel ride called the Double Helix Spin, and another one of the park's top attractions, the Cretaceous Coaster. Built by German manufacturer Mach Rides, this ride is a clone of the Flight of the Hippogriff coaster at Universal Studios Hollywood and Universal Studios Beijing. By all accounts, this attraction has gotten quite a bit of praise from young thrill seekers. In an interview with Fox 4 Dallas-Fort Worth, one kid said the coaster was his favorite ride at the park, elaborating, "There were actually a few airtime hills in there, so I got airtime. That was fun." As for the food, the Jurassic World Canteen offers several memorable items, including dino-shaped chicken nuggets and a berry refresher mocktail featuring pineapple Fanta, Mountain Berry Blast Powerade, dinosaur gummies, and a yellow sugar rim. Definitely cashing in on the current dirty soda trend from Utah. I also should mention the meet and greet with a baby raptor. This is pretty creative on Universal's part, and it's undeniably adorable. Still though, this place could really use some dinosaur animatronics. We've seen these kind of figures at outdoor parks before, such as Cedar Fair's old Dinosaurs Alive exhibit, and I've even seen these at smaller local parks, so there's really no reason to not have any of them. Moving on, we have 2 lands themed to the Shrek universe. First is Puss in Boots Del Mar. Many consider this area to be the best looking of the bunch. The architecture is elaborate and well sculpted, and the Swings Over Del Mar ride really pops out. Though it only has one ride, the park's main attraction is actually a pretty cute puppet show, and kids are sure to enjoy this show. The Comidas y Leche restaurant has its own set of food options. We've got a Crunchwrap style dish called Big Jack Horner's Wrap, mini churros with chocolate sauce, a crispy shrimp bowl with corn, and a sizable Tres Leches cake. Pretty solid options for a park targeted to kids. Next up is the widely criticized Shrek Swamp. This is supposed to resemble, well, a swamp, but the saplings and concrete just don't give off that kind of vibe. As for the attractions, there is a decent-sized playground and splash pad, but the main ride is considered by many to be the worst one at the park, Shrek and Fiona's Happily Ogre After. This is a standard bus bar ride that's something like a classic antique cars ride. It's supposed to retell the story of how Shrek and Fiona met, but it does so in the cheapest, most basic way possible. Instead of an indoor dark ride with animatronics, this ride takes place entirely outdoors, with more greenery you'd find in a grocery store parking lot and scattered flat 2D cutouts representing scenes from the movie. I mean, at least they didn't use AI, but these look awful. Some of the wooden cutouts don't even look fully painted. I use the phrase Uncle Fred's tool shed a lot, except if Uncle Fred had made them, it would be respectable, but this is a multi-million-dollar park by Universal. They couldn't even get the original voice actors to provide the onboard audio.
It's on my to-do list.
All the while, there is not a single moment of shade, so you're getting absolutely beamed by the Texas sun. Sorry, but there's really no defending this ride. On the bright side, there are two cool food options. There's Donkey's Cookies and Cream Waffle and the Shreksel, carried over from Universal Studios Florida. Simply put, a Shreksel is a pretzel shaped like Shrek's head. What kid isn't going to want to tear off the ears and dip them in cheese or mustard? Down the pathway, there's also the TrollsFest land. This is another land that falls victim to the concrete and minimalist theming. For rides, you've got two, the Hair in the Clouds balloon ride and Rhonda's TrollsFest Express. Built by German manufacturer Zero, this is a standard cookie-cutter family coaster. Specifically, it's a clone of Air Grover at Busch Gardens Tampa Bay, among other installations. The coaster itself is a fine family addition, but the concept art showed the coaster being built on a plot of land with bright red flowers. In reality though, it's uneven patches of grass. You know, I visited another location close to me with superior flowers, the kind I expected to see on this ride. You know where that was? The rest stop off I-95 in North Stonington, Connecticut. As for the food at TrollsFest, things take a more Italian turn, and you can get various pastas and pizzas. At another stand, there are Trolls-themed cones available. Lastly is the Isle of Curiosity featuring Gabby's Dollhouse. Not a whole lot to say here, as it's mostly just a store, a seating area, and a cupcake stand in the middle of a sea of concrete. There's a Gabby's Dollhouse sign also standing among the concrete. This land might as well not even exist, to be quite honest, but to be fair, the cupcakes do look pretty good. So that's the entire park, and to be quite honest, it's not really the disaster everyone seems to be making it out to be, but there are definitely legitimate criticisms. Let's go through how the park can address its flaws. First, they seriously need a dark ride. It's understandable that they don't have space for multiple huge dark ride show buildings or big roller coasters, but I feel this park could at least build something. Imagine if there was a small indoor water ride themed to SpongeBob. We've seen Sally Dark Rides make a solid animatronics of Mr. Krabs for the Adventure Dome in Las Vegas. Imagine if they were able to bring a fully fleshed out SpongeBob ride here. Even if it had to incorporate screens, they could make it an interactive video game like the aforementioned Vegas ride. Something like this would give the park a top draw and a fun game for kids. Plus, it would give people that much needed air conditioning. Even in the vlogs that praise this park, I can tell the heat is a big problem. One guest even reported that the heat was so intense that workers had to spray water onto the seats of one of the SpongeBob rides. Further, there's the word I've said multiple times in this video, concrete. If I had to guess, a lot of the landscaping budget probably went to keeping locals from seeing the park by landscaping around it. But there's definitely still time to buy a few hundred buckets of paint and add more visual appeal to this park. Paint the pathways in the SpongeBob land teal, paint the pathways in the Minions land yellow, paint the ones in Trolls land pink, and paint the ones in Shrek's land green. And while you're at it, add more shading structures. Many of the play areas are shaded, so why not invest in shading for the pathways? Sure, the sapling trees will grow in a few years and provide a lot more shade than they do, but in the meantime, you've got people sweating in the Texas heat who could use some serious cooling down. Lastly, this park could use a lot more three-dimensional theming. A lot of the flat signs and cutouts simply look sad on the concrete paths. Invest in more 3D sculptures and really make this park pop with characters. Other than all that, there are some genuinely great things about this park. The food offerings, the variety of family amusement rides, the amount of characters, the meet and greets, the abundance of stroller parking areas, and the small sinks and toilet seat attachments in the bathrooms. By all accounts, the staff is incredible too, providing excellent upbeat customer service. The way I see it, Universal genuinely wanted to build a good park. But the company is so used to building these massive projects in Orlando with not as many limits that they simply lacked the regional park experience that, say, Merlin Entertainment has for their Legoland parks. These are a great example of regional kid-focused parks that make the most of their budget. And these are budgets smaller than what Universal usually works with. Speaking of Universal, a lot of the criticism comes from the expectations. Universal has built so many A-list theme park experiences over the years that people expected the same level of theming and quality for a park they really never built before. Now, a fair critique is that a park that caters to children should have the same level of quality that a park aimed at adults does. Jenny Nicholson made a similar comment in a recent tweet, and it's true that a lot of the greatest theme park rides in the world do cater to small children too. To add on to all of that, adults are the ones who are buying the tickets. Universal stated that they wanted this park to serve as a gateway to get regional families acquainted with the brand and be inspired to travel to the Orlando parks. But if parents are sweating heavily in the hot sun and not enjoying their time, it really doesn't matter how much fun the kid is having. They may put up with the park once, but if they associate the Universal brand with cheapness or discomfort, they're going to Disney World instead. It's been pointed out that several attractions in the area are significantly cheaper than Universal Kids. Now, tickets to the Universal Kids Resort range from $55 on the weekdays to $80 on holiday weekends. By comparison, the Peppa Pig theme park in North Richland Hills has tickets that start as low as $24 when booked online and up to $42 when bought at the front gate. If parents think Universal is charging a premium price for a less than premium experience, they're not going to be interested in the brand. But still, we can't deny that people are honestly having a blast at this place, as I've seen in several videos. Children simply have bigger imaginations and don't have the same standards that adult theme park enthusiasts do. When the park finally opens, it may very well be a success despite its flaws. I personally believe there is room for improvement, but the park has a bit of a way to go. But what do you think about this place? Is it a complete disaster, or does it just need some time and attention? Feel free to let me know in the comments section. And speaking of comments, now it's time for the comment shoutout program. This is where I take 5 random comments from my previous video and read them out. These comments come from my video on Real Madrid World. Heather Starling 88 says, I lost all respect for a team I didn't know existed until this video. KitKatBar362 says, I was told this park was supposed to get a mock hypercoaster, but I'm guessing it never happened. Query L says, Unstoppables, still better than Habit Heroes. Taylor J7374 says, this one got several actual lols from me. And Alex Likes Tunes says, how the hell do you build an entire high-end theme park around single football club? Simple, you don't. If you want to see your words in my next video, leave a comment down below and it may be selected. Please note though that inflammatory or spam comments will not be read. Feel free to check out my Patreon in the description for exclusive archived video content. Thanks for watching, everyone. Feel free to like, share, and subscribe. You can follow me on social media on Instagram and Facebook, or you can check out my website at themeparkcrazy.com. And I'm on TikTok. This is Theme Park Crazy, and I'll see you all next time.